ready?
Yeah.
All right, NERDSoulite, you ready? You sure? all right. Woo! Ha ha! Late ill kid at OneYoungsta holding it down, bringing that street geek and nerd. So, what is up, my people? Today, special episode. We have something brand new we're coming to y'all with. We spoke about it on Friday. If you were here for lounging, you saw us talk about it a little bit. We are starting BlackTogether. This is show mainly. I know you see NERDSoulite right here, but mainly myself and Lady Lisa. Say what's up.
Hey, y'all.
And in this show, well, you know what? I'll throw it over to Lady Lisa. What will we be covering mostly in this show that's different from lounging?
Mostly in this show, we're going to talk about relationships. Mostly, marital, dating. We probably will touch on general friendships, but mostly operating as black men and black women together.
That's what's up. You know what I'm saying? Operate as a unit. That unit, many units come together to create a community, and we continue moving forward. And so today we're going to be getting into dating, courtship, defining roles, marriage, just having a nice open discussion, if you will, getting things started, if you will, because we know, there's a lot that we want to get to as far as how today's events are hurting us or helping us when we're dealing either solo or as a unit together, but we got to start at the source, sort of. So with that said, where in dating did you want to start off?
I think it would be great to start at defining dating. Like what is dating? Mm-hmm. And to me, dating is an, of course, unmarried, uncommitted, unattached person spending time with one or more people. Okay. With hopes of a relationship, possibly marriage.
Okay. And I see where you're coming from. So with that said, if dating is kind of like you're seeing people, figuring out who you connect with.
Right, yeah.
When do you get into courtship, and what is that difference? What is that line for you with courtship and dating?
Courtship is when you've made a decision that you want to see one person.
All right.
You've picked who that person is, and now you are operating in a position of we're looking at marriage. We are we're definitely leading towards marriage. We have or are in the midst of talking about marriage.
All right.
And yeah, that to me that's what courtship is.
Okay. And I'd agree. When it comes to dating, for me, dating has always seen, if you're like, we're dating, that has always seen as more of a, I don't want to say open situation, but definitely not a committed, it's like, hey, I'm dating you, but I'm still trying to find out who my mate will be. You know what I'm saying? And this is, for people that are actually looking for a mate. We're not talking about any other flim-flam stuff, F-boy stuff, F-girl stuff. Not talking about that. What we're talking about are people that are actually trying to find folks that, kind of vibe with them, or, find someone that vibes with them that can contribute to their life.
Yeah.
So I think I do agree with that distinction. And even you and I had that distinction, but our dating period was super short.
No, it wasn't.
I feel like it was short. I felt like we went kind of into courtship kind of quick. Like we were like, because I already knew like sort of the kind of relationship I wanted, and I wasn't interested in, I wasn't interested into kind of like playing the field, if you would.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I know we didn't start courting like the very next day, but I think we both found a kinship in each other and kind of like, you know, a certain energy with each other where we kind of knew early on that we like, hey, we want to be more serious than just casual dating.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it was different for us anyway. And I guess we can get into our specific relationship later.
Yeah.
But it was different for us because the whole long distance thing and
true that.
So yeah, that was a bit different. Yeah.
So courtship. The reason I'm glad you brought up courtship. What up, Token? Token in the house. What up? Nice to see you. The thing that I enjoy most about courtship is that it is a conscious effort to sort of a conscious effort to try and make sure that we meaning those two people are moving towards marriage, moving towards, you know, that very very concrete point in their life. Sadly though, I think courtship isn't really as used or utilized or even sought out anymore.
Yeah, because
or maybe the definition has been diluted to a certain degree.
Well, I don't think the definition has been diluted. I think the whole concept of dating and relationships has been diluted. But you know, I think courtship isn't a thing as much now because you know, again, the whole thing of dating and everything is mismatched, and courtship is very purposeful. Like it's very, you have to be decisive in terms of courtship. You know, courtship requires you to make your intentions plain.
Yeah, and make them known.
And make them known.
And many people don't want to do that these days.
And courtship in and of itself is making a commitment because it's saying, hey, you know, it's you and I. We're talking about marrying each other and we're working towards that. That is a commitment that you just made in that statement. And I think in general, people out here dating and everything, it's a lot of game playing. Well, and it's a lot of, people don't want to define stuff. We kicking it. We gonna Netflix and chill. It's like no one wants to say what they mean.
I think there is a when it comes to that, and I'll jump into why I think it's important that we kind of like nail that down on what we're doing. But I think why that happens is, you know, making yourself vulnerable can be scary. You know what I'm saying? And being vulnerable these days, I think it's, the more open you are, the more vulnerable you are. And not open as far as like vlogging, but open intimately with someone. Your thoughts, your dreams, your passions, stuff like that. Those are the things that you open up to someone when you're courting.
Yeah.
Those are the things that, you know, you bring someone into and make them a part of. And that makes you very vulnerable. And, you know, people get hurt and nobody wants to get hurt.
Yeah.
So when you have a large part of the community that doesn't want to be hurt, you end up with a lot of people that want to stay in a holding pattern of dating.
Yeah.
Like they want to continue dating, but they don't want to go all the way because, you know, it can be hurtful. What I do think is important here is that we make sure for us, you know, when I'm talking about, this is BlackTogether. For Black people, what I think is, no. What I'm talking about with us, I think is most important is we don't have the time to play games. And not saying that there's a difference between dating and being determined, being open, and being well defined on what your dating is and what your dating is to other people. We don't have time to we don't have time to play with each other's emotions because of what our community goes through. And not saying that you can't date people. I think where we get messed up in a lot of ways is there's this gamble that in most cases we don't get an opportunity to take. Because of how vulnerable we are systemically, and then how vulnerable we are to each other. From a black man to a black woman, or a black woman to a black man.
What do you mean by it's a gamble we don't get to take? What are you talking about?
What I'm saying is, in our current state, every day operating in America, our emotions are already so intensified. Mm-hmm. It's so stressful to live as a black woman. It's so stressful to live as a black man. Mm-hmm. So to get into these kind of gamey territories is something that we can't really afford to do to each other.
But we are.
Yeah. Not saying that we aren't doing it. What I'm saying is that we don't have the luxury, really, of doing that like other communities do, because it can be even more damaging to each other. And not saying that I expect all of your relationships to go straight to marriage. No. But I think an air of openness of, hey, I'm dating, I'm not sure where I want to go yet. That openness with each other will mitigate a lot of problems that we see online, that we see interpersonally, that I think that we don't do. Yeah.
Well, it's because if you are going into something and you don't have good intentions, that's what and the problem is people don't have good intentions on one hand. Then on the other hand, people are so afraid of what the other person is going to say and how they're going to react.
Yeah.
Because, it's a contradiction. And I'll say this as a woman, I will say this. We can be very contradictory. We say we want honesty, then when we get it and the honesty is brutal, I can't believe you said that. So for instance, if a man comes to us and says, look, I want to go out with you and I want to see you, but I want to see other women too.
Because I don't know if you're going to be the one yet.
And also, I'm not saying and they might say, I'm not looking for the one right now. Yeah, I'm out here having fun. Yeah. I'm dating, and that's, to me, if a man had ever come to me and said that, I would have been like, cool. Now, I can't say if he was someone I liked that I wouldn't be hurt or upset, but I can't be mad at him for saying that. And you wouldn't
lose like a year or so behind him, thinking that he was something he wasn't.
Exactly. So, to get back to, what we're talking about, we're kind of talking about, what it really should be. We're talking a little bit about what it is and what it really should be, so there should be that air of honesty. If you aren't looking for a relationship and you're just kind of dating different people, let it be known, and ladies especially, don't get upset with the man if he says that to you, because he actually saved, like you said, the both of you a whole lot of time.
Yes.
And
because then you can go on to find the person that you're supposed to be with, if that's what you're looking for.
Exactly.
Or if he says, hey, I'm just looking for a good time, and you're like, me too.
Yeah.
Then that works. But I think a lot of what we deal with is the issue of kind of like unequal passions and unequal visions on what the relationship is at that point in time. The man is like, oh man, she likes me. She's my girlfriend. and we're in a serious monogamous relationship going towards marriage. And she can be like, I'm just playing around and having fun because this is my kind of get out there and get to know people and live your life to the fullest phase.
Yeah, and
which is fine, but when we don't speak to each other, especially the people that we most need to speak to,
right?
that's when you get this unequal vision of what you're doing.
Right, and that's why labels are beneficial. You know,
Yeah.
I've heard of this whole thing as I don't
This
like
labelless
labels.
lifestyle.
I'm not into labels, but that's when labels are beneficial. You know,
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with saying, "Look, what we doing?
Thank you.
What are we doing? Are we? What are we doing?"
And these are the same people that be like, I want to know everything that's on the label for what I buy. So, but you don't want to know everything about the person that you're spending most of your time and your body, your mind, spirit, all of your energy to.
Yeah.
You don't want to know. You don't want to no kind of label on that. You don't want to. There's nothing wrong with labels.
Yeah.
I think what's wrong is that people use the absence of labels and the abstract as something to be deeper than it really is. Yeah. In most cases, you're dealing with someone, man or woman, that really wants to just be free, but they don't want to say it because they're afraid of losing someone that they do value. But when you value something, you've got to give something up. I might value a pair of pants. I have to give up some money to get that pair of pants. I might value, this job or something, but I have to give up something to work at this job. Everything that you value is going to incur some type of work or sacrifice. And I think we are finding ourselves in this circular rut of relationships where I don't really want to do any work.
Yeah.
But I like you.
Yeah.
I want to be physical with you, but I don't want to do any work. And trust me, there's people out there that will be physical with you and will not want you to do any work. I think like I said, what we're missing now is that actual discussion and that actual open communication. Because if you're looking towards a relationship, you need to be open to that person to say, this is what I want.
Yeah.
And when I was with when we were early on, I told you, I was like, look, I want to get married. I want to have a family.
Right.
That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah. And
I need a woman
Yeah.
that I can trust in, that I can believe in, that I can believe can help me raise a child. Those stuff. And I said that openly to you.
You did.
I didn't skip around the block with it because I was like, look, this is what I want.
Yeah.
Do you want that?
Yeah.
If not, get out my way so I can find someone who does.
Right. And we did. I remember clearly us having that conversation. And, I remember it was like, well, wow. Because most men, gag on saying those words, marriage and children, and I'll say you're a few years younger than I, and, and so that made it even more like, wow, for you to, be younger and have that frame of mind, and me having dated, men my age and older, and, they want to tap dance like Savion Glover. But so yeah,
the tap dance is crazy.
I think, it has to be very purposeful. But I think, part of it is people are out here playing. And then the other part of it is that it's really nothing wrong, with just saying, okay, I'm dating, and do that. Get your life together. Get to know yourself. Mm-hmm. Focus on education. Focus on your career. Pursue your own dreams. Be selfish for a while. When I say that, I mean spend time with you. Get to know you. Get yourself to a place where you are a whole person to go into a relationship. Because you don't need to go in looking for somebody to complete you. You need
complete me.
Two complete people need to come together into a relationship. There should never be, you complete me. That's a problem. That's a problem. And I think, a lot of people haven't learned that. And, I think it's a lot of things that go on. Some people feel like they're supposed to, get married by a certain age because people say that you know you should be married by a certain age. You should have children by a certain age. You know, not too early though, but don't wait too late. And it's like, look, you're doing too much.
You get married when you get married.
Yeah.
You have kids
when you have kids.
Because there's no guarantee that you're gonna find the person that is right in those ways for you at 18, 21, 23, 24. There's no guarantee.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't say, well, if I don't have it together by, say, I don't know, 30, then all is lost. Life is long. Yeah. Very long. And 30 is not the end of it.
Yeah, and for many people...
In general, barring like a car accident or something like that, in general, at 30, you've probably got another 50 to 60 years. Now, of course, people say, oh, those folks have died at 50 and stuff like that. I understand. But in most cases, you'll see 70-something, 80-something, maybe 90-something. Also, the longer we live, the longer the longer science goes on, the better that we can do for ourselves and our bodies. And people are living longer due to medical science, medical health.
Yeah.
So
and also
life is a long time.
Yeah.
You've got time. You don't need to rush.
Yeah. And also women, I think especially Black women are waiting longer to get married and to have kids. And I know some people will think, oh, well, Black women aren't really getting married because of lack of men and all this kind of stuff. That's a whole other discussion.
Yeah.
But I think there are more women that are purposefully waiting longer to get married because, we have, careers, that we're focused on, and we're busy educating ourselves. And for a lot of Black women, we're just busy having fun by ourselves. We're busy traveling and spending time with friends because it's a lot of freedom with that. And I think for men too, to be fair, and it's not all about playing the field, it's about just genuinely enjoying your life and not having to answer to anyone. And
because
that's not a selfish thing to do in a negative sense.
No.
It's a thing where it's like, I recognize that if I commit to someone and have children, my life changes, and I not only answer to myself, I answer to them, and I have to divide my time with them. So before I do that, let me go on and do these other things that I really want to do without any hindrance.
Yeah, because I love that you hit that, because now we can get into marriage a little bit. Because we're around that time. When it comes to marriage, a lot of people don't realize you owe that person something. Meaning,
a lot.
Meaning, when you go somewhere and they're like, hey, where are you going? They're not asking where you're going because they're your warden. It's because you two are a unit and they need to know where you're going to be at.
Yeah.
If something, especially with us, I could go to the grocery store and that could be my last trip ever because some officer decides they just don't like how I look. Or someone decides, I could go walking in the park and someone could decide that it's time to string me up somewhere. So it's very important. I owe her my location. Not meaning that like she's my mom or I'm her dad. Like, tell me where you gonna be. It's we are a unit. We are a team.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like in a family, I need to be able to take care of you.
Yeah.
And I can't take care of you if you just out there, I don't know where you at.
Yeah,
you know
and it's like, when people say, am I my brother's keeper, am I my sister's keeper? It's like, you are your wife's keeper, and you are your husband's keeper. You know what I mean? You keep each other. You really do. And it's about, you're completely sharing your life with this person. Completely. Everything. Your ups, your downs, and I want to get into downs definitely with the marriage, but your ups, your downs, your happiness, your sadness, what you think is cool, what you think isn't cool. Your bathroom space.
Your bathroom space.
Your bed space, your couch space, the remote.
Yep, the remote.
Look, your stash of cookies. I mean, look.
And we ain't even talking about adding a child. So
Man.
there are things that I owe to Lisa that are very important. And getting to the point of getting through the dating, getting through the courtship, and getting to the marriage, you have to understand that you owe something to this man or you owe something to this woman because they are, in a sense, your caretaker. There is, in a married couple, there's so much that your wife or your husband is going to do for you because they need to make sure that the family is okay. I remember there was a time when we were talking about like finances and going places, and we have to plan. It's not where I want to go. It's where do you want to go? Who needs to see our son? Who do we need to see? All of those things have to be planned together. And what up, Chris the Quick? What up? So in situations like that, you have to make sure that, I'm not just living my life. I'm doing whatever I want because I'm a man. It's like, no, because you're a man, you have to make sure that you're also taking care of the needs, wants, and dreams and passions of your wife and your child. For instance, we went back home and I knew my son needs to see all of his cousins, or as many as he can, because we live on a whole different coast. So I could have said, well, I don't care. I want to go somewhere. I don't care. But instead we were like, let's do this event, bring everyone together and take pictures. I had to take pictures. I remember when I was little, someone's dad was walking around taking pictures. Guess what? I'm that dad now. But those are the things you do for your family. I had to wager something. I had to sacrifice something. I had to spend something for the thing I value. And I think that's something that you're right with. Spend your time with yourself, being selfish and a positive selfish, because when you get into a marriage, there is a shared work and a shared success that you won't be, you're not going to, like, I can't just hop and be like, I'm going to do my thing. I'm out. Peace. Can't do that. You have to say, hey, what are you doing on this day? I want to do this. Can I do this? What time do you do this? You have to plan things out because these people care about you. They depend on you as you depend on them. So you can't just do what you want. So there is that time, like you were talking about, black women and black men. Yeah, you do need to go out and be on your own, be with your boys, go travel. Because trust me, you ain't just going to be able to run to the Bahamas when you got a kid. Now, when your kids are, say, 16, 17, 18 or something like that, it's different. Or if you live, like, for instance, say if you live close to home and grandma or mama can watch the kids on the weekend or for an extended weekend, that might be different. But in most cases, when you have a child, this child is part of your family, not your mama's family, part of your family. And you're going to have to figure out that schedule around that child. Where does that child want to go? Where's that child? Do you know how much Mickey Mouse Club I watch? Do you think I want to watch Mickey Mouse Club? No. But guess what? I know that in pouring time in to my son, singing these songs, silly as though they may be, these are the things that I need to pour into him. You know what I'm saying? Because I value him. So on that point, that's very important for you to make sure that you get as much as your positive selfish time out. Whether it's your dreams, whether it's following a certain passion or, just traveling, that is important.
It is.
It's very important because you won't have the same freedom, and you shouldn't have the same freedom to do those types of things when you're married, because when you're married, you become a different person, a different being, and you're in a different role, which is kind of what I wanted to what we were talking about with defining your roles. With that, I'll throw that off to you.
Well,
go ahead.
Before we go there, I just want to say, so, before you even really get to marriage, I would say during that time of courtship is, to me, what is, someone might, well, what is courtship for? That time of courtship is for you to really be determining, is this person the right person for me to marry? So, meaning, and let me say this, I personally don't believe that you need to live with someone before you marry them to determine if you want to be married to them. In my personal opinion, if you feel like I have to live with them to see if I want to marry them, to me, that's not a good sign, because to me, that insinuates a contingency, meaning, well, if they, put their socks on the floor in front of the hamper, I'm out. You don't need to be married to them or anyone else at that point. That's just my opinion. Because some people believe you need to live together first. That's on you. I don't believe you need to.
Yeah.
But, courtship is determining, you're looking for the characteristics in that person that you require for your mate.
Yes.
Are they financially savvy? Not to say that they have to be a millionaire, but y'all need to discuss finances. Y'all need to discuss credit. Yes, indeed.
What up, Lotus Scholar? You right. Lay all the cards on the table.
Yeah, you need to discuss finances. Absolutely, positively. Look, don't be afraid. And Black folks, we are so afraid of discussing this. Don't be afraid to ask each other. How much you make.
Pause on that real quick. Pause. Keep your thought.
Okay.
Lisa and I became so much stronger as a unit when we decided that we were on the same boat, on the same note, on the same tune, together in like mind about what we wanted to do with our finances. And it was thanks to her, not me. But our relationship became so much stronger after that. Now, is it an easy conversation? Was it? No. Conversations. Many conversations. Heated, I may say. But you get that money right, because by the time you get to the money, I assume that you guys have an attraction, you like each other, blah, blah, blah. You like the kind of character she has, and say from man to woman, say she's trustworthy and she's upstanding and she's respectable. So you passed all that. So you get to the money part. You fix that money part, that's a lot, that's a huge part. Because you're living together and you're sharing finances. And say if I'm trying to pay bills this way, and she's like, no, you need to pay bills this way. And I'm like, nah, I know what I'm doing. I'm paying the bills this way. There's always going to be that chasm for you.
Some people may ask, what do you mean pay bills this way? That's another show.
That's another show. And we'll do that. We'll do a whole show about how I used to pay bills. Which again, and jump back on your point, if you're living alone, that's great.
Yeah.
But you're not living alone anymore. And someone depends on you. And someone's determined to follow your lead, but they need to know what your lead is. But sorry, go ahead.
I forgot what point. Oh, yes. So I was saying, the courtship, to go back to courtship, is the time when you should be really determining, for sure, if this person has all of the characteristics of a husband, all of the characteristics of a wife, because you've moved beyond, You know, there's difference between, is this person right for me as my girlfriend or my boyfriend?
Yeah.
And is this person right for me as my lifelong partner?
Yeah. We're moving past, is she fine?
Yes. Do we both like to eat at the Olive Garden? You know,
Olive Garden.
It's beyond this.
If you don't know what Italian food tastes like.
Does this person,
how Olive Garden got worse breadsticks than Domino's?
Anyway, will this person make a good mother? Will this person make a good father?
Yes.
Is this person selfish, or if times get hard, do they come across as the type of person that'll say, what can I do? How can I help? Mm-hmm. That type of thing. And I'm talking in terms of men and women.
Yes.
Men, we talked about this the other day, something we watched, and I was like, man, you need to be careful how you pick your wives.
You gotta be very careful how you pick your wife.
Will she still be there when the 6-7 figure income is cut off or starts dwindling? Will she say, okay, let me figure out what I need to do to keep things going in the household and to keep him going in terms of how he feels? So that's what courtship to me is for.
And another big thing on that, finances aren't the only thing that can hit you. They say for better or for worse. Everybody believes we're gonna get married, we're gonna be perfect, and we're gonna have we're gonna be like the picture of the couple in the frame. Everything's gonna be awesome. What if you get into a car accident? What if she does, and now she's paralyzed, and now you have to care for her physically? That's better and worse. What if this person is, even for a short period of time, out of work, and you have to pick up the slack? What if this person goes through a depression? You know what I'm saying? There are things outside of work financially, meaning slack, that you'll have to pick up. You'll have to pick up what this person did emotionally, because they were emotionally in a better state for your children. There's so many things that you have, and not saying that you should always think of the worst scenario, but you should be aware that better or worse does mean better or worse. And you have to be steadfast in what you believe that you can do, and also figuring out what this person will do for you if those times come, because there's never a guarantee that we're going to be in perfect health forever. Or also, we age. You know what I'm saying? Your body at 30 is not going to do the same thing your body at 60.
Mm-mm. Your body at 30 ain't going to do the same thing at 40. Truth be told.
So with that said, you have to know that there is something deeper than that Coke bottle frame or those pecs and those shoulders. You know what I'm saying? Something deeper than that attracts you to this person, because that may fade.
Oh, it will.
This person could get cancer and those muscles could go.
Yeah.
Or that booty could go. You know what I'm saying? Or like I said, go through a depression and their mind isn't the same. At least for a certain period. They may bounce back, but you don't know. They may get into an accident and you have to wheel them around. Or it may be worse and you have to care for them, like bathing them and stuff like that. Yeah. You have to be prepared.
You have to ask
yourself, those types of moments. Are you the type of person that can do that? Because that's when the rubber meets the road in a marriage. Yeah,
you have to ask yourself, if I get dementia, do I believe that my husband is going to move in his girlfriend into the house?
No, you didn't say that.
Well,
man, that is a whole nother situation, son.
And then she want to make herself look good by saying, I helped take care of her. You were supposed to be there.
I'm sure you did.
Anyway, that's a side note.
It's a side note. But yes, courtship is one of those things that I think we need to be very specific about, especially in these times, because getting Black together, you know what I'm saying, is something that's very important for all of us. And, you know, stronger families, stronger communities, and all that jazz.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
So this is another thing I just really thought about is putting in time. I know putting in time is a catch-22 because of course, you know, you date someone and then you go through courtship and all this. And so of course time goes by and you get into this conundrum of, okay, I don't know if this is really someone I want to marry. We seem to want different things, but I've put in so much time. Yes. We get caught up in that. Good and point. It's like, yes, but then you have to ask yourself, do you want to put in even more time?
Thank you.
If this isn't the right person, you can't get that time back.
Definitely.
And you putting in more time isn't going to make up for the time you've already put in.
No, it's not.
You have to get to the point where you say, what have I learned from this? How have I grown in this?
Good point.
And where do I go from here? Because just because you break up with someone don't mean you mad with them. Don't mean they did anything wrong. Don't mean you did anything wrong.
That part.
You just weren't right for each other.
Thank you.
You can still cherish.
You don't always have to have some beef. It can just be like, look, I'm not right for you. You ain't right for me. We thought we were.
You're a good person. I'm a good person. We're cool as friends. You can cherish the time that you had together. You can be like, you know what? I dated so-and-so for this many years and we just decided it wasn't right, but we had a great time together. He's a great person. She's a great person. You know, I wish her the best. I wish him the best.
Yeah. And on that note, there is this idea that every relationship has to end in a very, I don't know, maybe argumentative or a very negative way, instead of just realizing that, hey, sometimes I'm not in the right place, or you're not in the right place, or we just don't mix together right. But that doesn't mean I have to essentially hate who you are and what you do. I can just say like, yo, look, it ain't work. It's not me particularly. It's not even particularly you. It's just that we aren't a match. For instance, there's, you know, when you play the game where you're like matching matching the cards, what is it? When you flip them in like elementary school?
Memory.
When you're playing memory and you don't find a match, you don't get angry and throw all the cards out. No, you're just like, it wasn't a match. You flip it. Think about it. You just flip it back and you go to the next one. And not saying that you should just be hopping around, but you should be able to engage in a relationship and disengage from a relationship without it always having to be a contemptuous thing.
Yeah.
I understand at times it can be, but you might be thinking, man, well, I put in all this time and he's not a bad man or she's not a bad woman. And it's like, no, that's not really the question. The question here is, are they a match for you?
Right.
And if they're not a match for you, it's not that they're some horrible person.
Right.
It's just that they need to be with someone else. And you need to be with someone else. And moving on in a way that doesn't always have to be negative is something that we should definitely learn too, as well. Yeah. But I like that you dropped that because it's true. There's a lot of times when people like kind of stay in situations, in relationships because they feel they owe it to the time that they've put in.
Right. And then the other person gets mad when someone comes to them and says, look, you know, things just aren't working out. And sometimes people don't know how to communicate that. And that can make you feel like you've been
kind of
blindsided, which is understandable, you know. But if someone comes to you and says, look, it's just not working out, I'm just not feeling it anymore, you know, it's not cause for smashing in windows and, you know, getting upset and all this kind of stuff. It's just like, you know what? Cool.
Yeah.
You go your way, I go mine. Even if it may very well be coming from a place of shade and you know something has been done wrong to you. But at the same time, they saved you time.
Yes.
They saved you time by just going ahead and ending it, and you like, you know what? Cool. Look, what have I learned from this? My two things that I learned the hard way, but learned to think about when a relationship ends. What did I learn, and what was my part? Because I don't care what happens in a relationship. When you break up with someone and it's contentious, it is never, ever, 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 ever any one person's 100% fault. It might
what
be,
did I learn and what was my part? Okay. I see where you're going.
It might be 90-10, right? It might be 80-40.
Or 80-20?
Or 80-20. I'm sorry, you're right, math teacher.
60-40?
You know, it might be 99-1. I don't know. But you always have to
did something.
You have to step back and say, what did I do? Even if it's a thing of you didn't make a right decision, or you know, allowed someone to do something to you, because to me that's taking self-responsibility. What I always say, Michael, nobody's more responsible for you than
yourself.
You are more responsible for you.
You are responsible for you.
Okay.
Well, they did, but what did you do?
Right.
And I can understand what you did, but you need to understand that when you did something, there would be a consequence. You exerted energy. A energy of some sort would come back. So you decide they did this. You justifiably did this, but they are going to also do that.
Right. So, you know, if you are with someone and they're continuously cheating on you, guess what? At some point, you have to say, well, I'm allowing them to cheat on me. Because somebody can't cheat on you if you ain't with them.
All right, cool. I'm glad you said that. Let's end on this. I love what you say about standards. And we coming close to time. Okay. So I wanna end on standards, because you talked about cheating. And there's certain things, certain activities, certain behavior, certain characteristics that you should have standards set up for, certain lines that shouldn't be drawn. And what do you say about standards?
Standards are that. They stand. They don't waver. They don't compromise. They don't disappear because he is so fine. Standards are just that. Standards are not there for when times are easy and clear and good.
Good point. Standards are there for times when things are unclear, difficult, and bad. Yeah. And I agree. Because I understand the idea that, well, just this time. You don't understand the context. Those kind of statements. I understand them. But if someone that doesn't deserve for you to be lenient in your standard or to bypass your standard, sees you bypass your standard, sees you be lenient on your standard, they will push again. Yeah. They will push again. Not saying that people don't deserve mercy, not saying that people don't deserve second chances, but there is this idea among some people that will try you in a relationship, man or woman, and they know that a certain standard is a standard of yours. And if they see you move that standard, they will most likely try you again. And unfortunately, for that case, you need to be very stringent on your standards. If your standard is, I don't know, I don't want someone who smokes. Well, if they smoke, you need to let them know I don't date people that smoke, and you either got to quit smoking or we got to move on. And that's it. Don't allow him or her to be like, oh, well, I'll just smoke outside of. No, I don't. And that's fine. Go ahead and smoke. Do your thing. You can't do around me. And you need to be because if they see you loosen that restriction, they may try, and not saying that this is everyone, but at times they will try to loosen another. Well, and another. An example, in that very example, and that's a good example, the onus is not on them. Yeah. The onus is on you, because just using that example, it's not up to them
to stop smoking around you. It's up to you to remove yourself from the situation. And that's what I mean by no one is more responsible for you than you. And that's something that we tend to do in relationships, is we want to talk about what they did to you. Well, what was you there for? What were you there for? Now, this isn't talking about abuse. That's a whole nother issue. We're talking about basics of things as that example. I don't want to date somebody who drinks. I don't want to date somebody who smokes. Well, he's drinking. So why are you still here?
Yeah.
Why are you still here? Either it's a standard or it's not. And, you know, those are kind of, you know, I would say very, I would call them like light standards. You know, they're not very heavy.
Well, I don't want to get super heavy because I know this is episode 1, sort of. You guys know us, but to a certain degree.
You know, it's an example of standards, and of course there are heavier standards that, you know, hold more weight and can be more serious in a relationship. But we're just talking about why it's important to have standards. And, you know, just going back to, you're responsible for yourself. No one else is responsible for you taking care of you and you holding your own standards. You're responsible for holding your own standards. I don't care how fine he is. I don't care how fine she is. I don't care, you know, how much money they have, or, you know, how much fun or how much time you put in. It, you know,
or
it is
if it's a situation, even if you say, hey, I don't want anyone to ever put their hands on me. I don't want anyone to hit me. And that's your standard. You need to stand on that.
Yes.
It don't matter how many times he apologizes or how many times she says I'm sorry or how many I don't know what came over me. I'm sorry I hit you. If she say that or if he say that, it don't matter. You got to go. That is your standard. Because if you let that standard slide, there's nothing wrong with a second chance, but the weight is more on the people that will take advantage of the second chance, and that's why the standard exists. Because you get lenient, and that person that you were lenient with says, "Ooh, he lowered his standard for me. He changed the game for me. I'll hit him again, or I'll hit her again when I get angry." Because they already changed the rules.
Exactly. Because this is the thing. And that's another example, but this can apply to anything. So you say, well, you know what? I'll stay. They'll change. They said they'll change. You have to ask your question. What incentive have you given them to change? You ain't gone nowhere.
Nope.
So what incentive do they have to change? If you're thinking from that point of view, they're more likely to change after they've lost you than they are if you stay.
Because there is no consequence for their action.
None. But I don't like that way of thinking, because again, you are responsible for you. Your responsibility is to remove yourself from those situations and not weigh it against, will they still be with me, will they not? Because if that's what you're thinking, you still need to go back to step 2 of being with yourself.
And knowing that you're valuable. Don't let someone drop your value.
For men and
women. Because here's the thing. If you're like, I'm not going to let someone mistreat me, don't let them mistreat you. Trust me, there is someone else out there that will love you, that will be your partner, that will stick by you, that will have your back, all that stuff. And you'll be like, hey, look, I found someone great. And I thought I wouldn't find anybody because I left XYZ and I thought my world was over. You know what I'm saying? Don't allow someone who mistreats you to make you believe that no one else wants you but them. Because that's another kind of lie that gets thrown around. You know, like there's no one else. It's just them that want you. So I wanted to end on that. So with that said, guys, we are almost at time. We thank you for hanging with us. To the chat, we got Token 123 ABC. We got Krista Quick. What up? What up? We got Loda Scholar. Thank you for rolling through. Of course, BlackTogether. We will be back next Sunday night, hanging out with you guys a little bit late, talking about Black men and women, life, love, politics, all that jazz. And how we maneuver through it. But yes, standards are definitely important, and do not move them. It may be hard to not move them, but do not move them. There is someone who will respect your standards and enforce your standards.
Yes.
So before we get out here, Lisa, say peace.
Peace. But I do want to say next time we will be talking about roles in relationships.
Oh yeah, roles. Yeah. Next week we'll get into defining your roles. Yeah, that's a good.
And not the buttered ones. Even though
ain't no wrong with
buttered roles are good in a relationship, but I'm just saying.
Yeah. But getting into roles, defining what you gonna do and who you gonna be in this relationship. Man, thank you, Krista. Thank you, and thank you, Lotus Scholar. So with that said, we out from us to you. We thank you for chilling. We're gonna throw on some Architron. Yeah, we're gonna throw on some Architron before we be out. We had some SP before we came in, Architron on the way out. Much love to y'all. And of course, NERDSoul, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all them places. YouTube is the main hub, but we got podcasts, Spotify music, all that jazz. Thank you for coming through. Until next time, from us, you were just saying peace. 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 All right, take it away, Architron.